Hey guys, it's Timmy. This is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 23rd of October 2019 to talk about everything that went down tonight on AEW Dynamite. Tonight's AEW Dynamite did come to us from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I thought might have been the weakest show so far for AEW on TNT, in all honesty. Like, I'm not saying the show was bad, but it felt weird from the get-go. Like, completely. When whatever that movie was that was on before, I think it was The Accountant or something, was on. As soon as that movie ends, boom, we're just Lucha Bros, Private Party already in the ring. And, excuse me. And I'm like, okay, they've packed up this show so much that they can't even do the intro. And I'll talk about it here in a moment. That first opening match, I know people are going to try and defend Private Party and say, well, they're green. They still got a long ways to go. They were sloppy. But first, before we get into it, let's talk about who's here with us. We've got the Mighty Showdown. Shadow, my bad. I read that way wrong. The Mighty Shadow. We've got Henry McKenna Cavallo, Jason Dalton, Woken King Slender, Kristen McNutt, Sinclair Saturday, Alexis Savalio, NC, and so many more of you. So like I said, I thought AEW tonight was okay. I did not think it was as good as any of the previous shows that we've seen. And as far as NXT goes, if you guys are going to try to ask me to compare, all I've seen is literally the last 4 minutes of NXT. I watched Dynamite tonight, and I didn't even have NXT paused on another or muted on another screen. Bear with me, guys. I got a little bit of a cough, so I'll be taking extra drinks of water and possibly coughing. So, like I said, the show just immediately started with the AEW Tag Team Title Tournament second round match. It was Lucha Bros against Private Party, and Private Party looked sloppy for a good portion of this match, and early, Private Party looked like they were doing all their stuff slower than normal. So, Mark Queen and Phoenix began this match. After a series of drop downs and leapfrogs, Queen hit a drop kick. Phoenix came back with a German suplex, and the Lucha Bros isolated Queen. Queen came back with a pop-up double stomp, then tagged Cassidy. Cassidy hit an enziguri, followed by another double stomp from Queen. Queen hit a springboard tope to the floor on Phoenix. Cassidy and Queen hit silly string on Pentagon. Queen hit Pentagon with a 450, but only got a near fall. Pentagon came back on Queen with a series of kicks. Phoenix tagged in and hit a double stomp to a standing Queen. The Lucha Bros hit tandem pop-up dropkick Poison Rana, which, I wasn't a fan of this move. It was like, I always get these guys mixed up. Queen had Cassidy on his shoulders. One of the Lucha Bros did a drop kick to Cassidy, who was on the shoulders, and he falls back and hits his partner with a Dragon Rana, or reverse Rana. I really didn't like that. It's like, why you got your partner up there anyways? Really, what are you going to do? So Phoenix hit a springboard dive to the floor. Pentagon used a package pile driver on Queen, but only got a 2 count. Queen hit a head scissors on Pentagon. And he stood up right out of the head scissors. Then he managed to tag in Cassidy. Cassidy hit a variety of flying head scissors on Phoenix, and then took out Pentagon with the Acai Moonsault. Cassidy hit a tornado on Pentagon. Pentagon and Cassidy Queen and Cassidy hit a tandem cutter on Phoenix for a 2. Cassidy hit a blockbuster on Phoenix. Queen then hit the 450 on Phoenix, only to get a near fall. Phoenix then hit a gory bomb, a leg drop combo on both men that actually looked pretty good. Pentagon hit a lung blower on Cassidy. Lucha Bros went for their finish, but Queen fought it off. Cassidy then hit a pop-up cutter on Phoenix. Pentagon hit Cassidy with a destroyer. Phoenix ran across the top rope and hit Queen with a kick. Pentagon used an arm breaker on Queen. Phoenix and Pentagon then hit the double stomp package driver finish on Queen. Phoenix hit a tope con Grillo on Cassidy to get him out of this match, allowing Pentagon to cover Queen and win, advancing them to next week in the final round. So then we got a hype video for Warlord, who we got a hype video from back at All In and haven't really heard anything of since. So I don't know what's going on with this Warlord guy or when he's actually ever going to debut, but hey, he's still around. We never went to commercial here after the first match, and the broadcast team gave us an update on Christopher Daniels, saying that he suffered a pinched nerve and will be out of action for 6 to 8 weeks. After giving the update, we then got the second of 2 tournament matches. This one saw SCU taking on the Dark Order. Uno and Grayson dominated early on, going for very basic offense. Scorpio Sky got a couple of hope spots in against Uno, who tagged Grayson. Sky made a comeback on Grayson with a double stomp, then tagged Kazarian. Kazarian and Sky used quick tags, but Grayson came back quickly with a backflip kick on Kazarian. Uno then rammed Sky into the steel steps, basically head first. He almost like a lawn dart kind of thing, the way he just literally the top of his head right into the steps. Dark Order continued working over Scorpio Sky in the ring until we finally went to the first commercial break of the show. Grayson worked a chin lock as they returned from commercial. Sky came back with the right hands but Uno cut him off and used the rest hold. We then saw the Inner Circle appear in the crowd. They went and got inside a luxury box, and Jericho was cheering for the Dark Order. Kazarian, meanwhile, was making one of the greatest comebacks no one has ever seen because the cameras were not on him. Grayson then hit him with an overhead belly-to-belly for a 2. Uno hit a power bomb for another 2 count. Scorpio Sky blind tagged himself in. Kazarian and Sky used tandem dragon sleepers. Grayson threw Kazarian off and broke both holds. Grayson then tried a top rope Rana on Kazarian and sent him to the outside. He then hit a tope over the post to the floor on Kazarian. Uno hit a DDT on Sky for a near fall. Kazarian recovered and jumped back in the ring. Sky and Kazarian hit the SCU later on Grayson. Kazarian held Uno at bay while Sky covered Grayson for the victory. I thought this match was good. Was the better of the 2 tournament matches. And now next week we will see the Lucha Bros taking on SCU. And who's surprised on that one? I'm not. Guys, I ask please no spoilers for NXT in the chat. Some people may have not watched it like myself. I've only seen the last 4 or 5 minutes of the show. So I don't want to be spoiled. And I think if there's others that have not watched it because they watched Dynamite, they don't want to be spoiled either. Then the show clips from AEW Dark, the match between Kenny Omega and Joey Janela from a couple weeks ago. We then got Kenny Omega versus Joey Janela. They began with some catch-can wrestling. They traded holds. Omega hit a running boot and sent Janela to the outside. He then hit a Pescado. Janela came back with a right hand, then hit a crazy high cross off the post to the floor. He threw Omega back inside for a 2 count. The 2 then traded chops, and we got a commercial break. This was the second break during the show. They did the picture-in-picture during every commercial break, even when there was no action. Back from the break, Omega hit the You Can't Escape. He went for the follow-up moonsault, but Janela got his knees up. Janela suplexed Omega into the bottom buckle, then hit a top rope elbow for a near fall. Janela then teased a top rope Rana, but Omega slipped out and dropped him on his face across the top rope. Then Omega went for a V-trigger, only got a 2. Omega went for another V-trigger. Janela reversed it and hit a German. Omega rolled through, though. They traded high kicks. Omega hit a standing knee strike. I think they called it a regal knee, which is very weird. George Don Cox, please no NXT spoilers. I will time you out if you give spoilers from here on out. Janela then hit a fisherman buster and used a big lariat to get a 2 count. Omega rolled to the apron. Janela tried a swanton bomb off the post as Omega was laying on the apron. Omega moved and Janela crashed back first on the apron. Omega then hit a great V-trigger, and I think the reason this move looked great is because, honestly, the way Janela sold it. Janela took the V-trigger and just literally looked like he was dead. Omega then hits him with a one-winged angel and pins him for the victory. Omega picks up a good victory leading into his match with Moxley at Full Gear. Crowd was really into this match. You got a "This is awesome" chant, and I don't know if there was anything that warranted a "This is awesome" chant, but I really, really enjoyed this match. Not as good as the street fight, but right up there. So then Cody comes out, and we learn that after the commercial break, he will be in the ring with Tony Schiavone, as Cody has a big announcement. So after the break, Cody said that he grew up in front of the world, so it's only appropriate that he share his news with all of us tonight. Now remember, the Inner Circle minus Hayter, because Hayter was not there tonight, we're in that VIP luxury box, and every time Cody would go to talk, they'd blow air horns. Cody tried to just ignore it, and it didn't work. Cody finally said, "Hey guys, stop." And Jericho got on the mic and said, "You're not going to do anything about it." Cody then said, "This isn't like the other company we both came from. There's not an invisible wall that's going to stop me from getting out of the ring, coming up there, and kicking your ass." I was like, really? We needed a WWE reference? Really, Cody? Really? Jericho said Cody is stupid. He's a coward. And he's an entitled little millennial bitch. And if he came up here, it's going to be a 4-on-1 attack. Out would then come Dustin Rhodes. Cody's like, "We need 3 more. Out would then come, 2 more. Out would then come MJF. Jericho made fun of him, said, "I'm not scared of anybody that wears a scarf. Who wears a scarf nowadays?" He said only idiots wear scarves, and then Cody was like, "Well, you might need 1 more." And out would come, not who you would think. My first thought was Hangman. But no, out came DDP. Yes, Diamond Dallas Page. So they all met Cody at ringside, and Cody said, "Let's go." And they walked through the crowd, up the stairs, and they... Sorry, try not to cough. The Inner Circle, as they're up there in their VIP little suite, they went into this like room where they can lock the door. And as they go in there, Cody and the rest of his guys walk up, and they're like, "Oh, man, what are we going to do now?" So MJF gives Cody his scarf. Cody wraps it around his hand, and he breaks the window and then opens the door from the inside. He then grabs Jericho, takes him out into the concessions area, and they all start to brawl. Cody puts a trash can. Well, actually, he just dumps a trash can over Jericho's head. They start fighting at the Dippin' Dots area. At one point, I think MJF took the trash can to the dome. And they're all fighting. Finally, security pulls Cody and his boys away. So the reason they were in the VIP luxury area is because Jericho and his guys, the Inner Circle, said, "We bought tickets." But it made no sense. Why would they buy tickets? They weren't banned from being there unless they were fans, like WWE has done before, where it's like, you're not allowed to be here. But if you buy a ticket, I can't stop you. There was none of that they said the Inner Circle couldn't show up at Dynamite. So it really didn't make sense to me, the whole "we bought tickets, you shouldn't attack paying fans" kind of thing. The brawl looked good. The brawl was done well. But that part kind of just didn't make sense to me. We think on more tag team action as the Young Bucks took on the Best Friends. Orange Cassidy was at ringside with the Best Friends. Looked like the crowd here in Pittsburgh actually liked the Best Friends more than they liked the Bucks. Very shocking. So as the match began, the Bucks asserted themselves. Nick hit the facebuster tope combination to both Best Friends. The Bucks mocked them with the hug. Trent Beretta and Chucky T made a comeback on the outside, wiping out both guys, throwing them into the barricade. Taylor hit a doomsday knee on the floor. Matt came back with a springboard DDT over the top to the apron on Taylor. Trent came back on Matt with chops, then sent him over the top rope. The best friends were in control going into a commercial break. After a break, Nick missed a 450 and tagged in Matt. Matt hit a roundhouse kick on Trent. Trent no-sold it and hit a German suplex on Matt and then tagged in Chucky T. Taylor hit a suplex on Matt and then used a powerbomb, only got a 2 count though. Taylor then hit a Falcon Arrow for the near fall, and JR literally said, "Whoa, nobody," I think it was JR, no, it may have been Excalibur, says, "Whoa, nobody kicks out of the Falcon Arrow." Well, just ask old Seth Rollins. Everybody kicks out of his Falcon Arrow. So, Trent went to the top. Matt tried to cut him off. No, Taylor went to the top. Matt tried to cut him off. Trent then jumped up and gave Matt a German suplex off the top. The best friends then hit Soul Food in a suplex combo. The best friends hugged it out. Then, I think it was Trent Beretta hugged the referee to distract him as Orange Cassidy got on the top rope and did a dive onto the Bucks to the outside. And the dive wasn't needed. The interference wasn't needed. But bravo to AEW for actually letting us know that the referee was distracted this time and not having the referee just watch and not do anything about the blatant interference. So I do got to commend them for that one, for at least distracting the ref so we couldn't see it. The best friends didn't hit the strong zero, but Nick broke up a pinfall attempt with a 450. Trent hit a doomsday knee on Matt. Matt landed on his feet, though. The Bucks ran wild with super kicks. Nick took out Orange Cassidy and Trent with a crazy dive to the floor. The Bucks hit the more bang for your buck, and Matt pinned Taylor for the victory. Another well-paced match. And I thought this was one of the more better things of the night. After the match, the Young Bucks got on the mic and said, "Santana, Ortiz, we accept your challenge for Full Gear." So we then got a Britt Baker hype video, as we are in her hometown of Pittsburgh. So they gave us a little hype video. And yes, during the hype video, we did briefly for like a quarter second, half a second, see a picture of Britt Baker, some guy, and yes, Adam Cole. Adam Cole did, as fans liked to say on Twitter, made his AEW Dynamite debut. Yes, fans actually said that on Twitter. "Oh my God, Adam Cole made his debut on Dynamite. He was on both shows tonight, Dynamite and NXT. Some fans, man. It was brief. It was almost like the picture came up, they noticed it and took it off really fast. But we did get Britt Baker versus Jamie Hayter. I thought this was a decent match for what we would expect. Britt Baker came down wearing Steelers-colored gear and even with the Steelers mascot, which is a good little addition to it. Hayter took the early advantage, attacking Britt in the corner, and then she sent Baker to the outside. She whipped Baker into the barricade. Baker came back with a sling blade on the floor. The match continued during a commercial break. After the break, Baker hit a neck breaker. Hayter hit some punches, choked Baker with the ropes, and used a camel clutch. Hayter took Baker's back and applied a rear naked choke. Baker broke the hold, hit some strikes in the corner, and then hit another sling blade for a 2. Both women traded strikes here, and Hayter hit a Falcon Arrow for another 2 count. Hayter tried a powerbomb, but Baker backdropped her instead. Baker hit a second rope suplex. Hayter basically no-sold it, and Hayter hit a choke slam for a 2. Baker hit a big right hand, a cutter, and then used a swinging neck breaker to only get a 2 count. Baker then hit a super kick and locked in her lockjaw submission for the victory. Of course, this thing's in WWE, so people can win in their hometown. I thought this match was okay. Could have been better. Not really that far off from what I would have expected. So then the broadcast team plugged next week's show, telling us we will be getting a tag title match and the pay-per-view coming up, Full Gear. Then they threw it to Jen Decker backstage, who was about to interview Jamie Hayter, when all of a sudden she was attacked. And we see that it's Brandy who attacks Jamie Hayter, laying her out. And I have no clue what's going on. Krista McNutt, I see your question, and I was waiting for this spot to answer that. And my answer is I have no clue. Kristen says Brandy has her bio on Instagram and Twitter all red. Does that mean she will turn into a psycho game? I have no clue what's going on with Brandy. I don't know why she is a heel on her own, but a complete babyface with Cody. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So, we'll see. We'll see where this leads to, but as of right now, I don't know why Brandy just randomly attacked her for no good old reason. So then going forward, we got our main event of the night, Pac, or Pac, whatever you want to call this man, against Jon Moxley. A really good match. Pac hit Moxley with a chair as Moxley was making his entrance. He then choked Moxley with his jacket. Finally, they got Moxley and Pac in the ring, and the match started with Pac hitting an enziguri at the opening bell. He went to the top for a black arrow quickly, but Moxley rolled out of the ring. Pac then hit a space-flying tiger drop and threw Moxley back in, only getting a 2 count. Moxley made a comeback. He hit a series of stomps in the corner. Pac regained the advantage with a one-legged drop kick to the head of Moxley. Moxley stepped to the apron, trying to avoid Pac's offense. Pac then knocked him off the apron, and he went crashing into the barricade. He then hit him with a shoulder block. Pac used a chin lock, and then hit a series of mid-kicks. Moxley was daring him to keep on kicking him more and more and more. Pac used a standing shooting star press, but only got a 2. Moxley, again, went to the apron. Pac tried a German suplex on the apron. Instead, though, Moxley hit an X-plex on the apron, and Pac crashed to the floor. Back inside the ring, they exchanged strikes. Moxley hit a clothesline. Pac came back with some kicks. Moxley hit another clothesline, and Pac took a flip bump. Moxley then hit an X-plex for a 2 count. Moxley teased a regal knee, but Pac rolled outside. Moxley hit a suicide dive, and then back in the ring, Moxley hit a black hole slam for a 2. Moxley then finally hit that regal knee, but only got a 2 off of it. Moxley locked on a cloverleaf, and Pac reached the ropes for the break. Moxley went to the top rope. Pac crotched him, then hit the tope and a Falcon Arrow, only getting a 2 count. Third Falcon Arrow of the night. That's the new move in AEW, I guess. Moxley then used a cradle on Pac, but only got a 2. Pac low-bridged him and sent him to the floor. Pac hit a 450 off the apron to the floor and tossed Moxley right back into the ring. He went for a black arrow, but Moxley rolled away again. Moxley then crawled over and made the cover, but Pac kicked out a 2. Moxley then hit a paradigm shift, and again, Pac kicked out a 2. Pac down. Justin Roberts started counting. 10 seconds left in the match. 9, 8. With about 7 or 6 seconds left, Moxley quickly rolled over Pac. By the time he got the cover on, it was like 2, 1. This match has ended in a draw due to TV time expiring. Moxley was enraged, yelling at the referee. Finally hit the referee with his paradigm shift DDT. Crowd didn't know how to react. I think this was an okay finish because they don't want to beat either guy. So you do the time limit draw. They don't do it often. This is only, I believe, the second time we've seen it in the company. Hopefully it doesn't become a thing, and it's just a sparingly here and there type of deal. But Moxley, again, like I stated, was completely pissed off. He basically said, "That's a load of crap." I think that's what he said. It's hard to kind of hear him. He kind of said something into the camera. I think he said a draw is a load of crap or something like that. And the show went off the air. And with that was tonight's AEW Dynamite. Next week, we do know that we will be getting a tag team title match where we will see the Lucha Bros taking on SCU. And if I'm going to give a prediction, I'm going Lucha Bros. I believe that's the only thing we learned as far as next week goes. So if we do hear anything else leading up to next week's show, we'll let you know. Checking some of the text messages here. Good question here by 817 says, who do you see going after Riho for the women's title of Full Gear? That's a tough one because they don't really have any women on a streak right now or on a roll that I can think of. So I don't know. They're going to have to build somebody up in the next 2 weeks. This person here says, have you seen NWA Power and will you do a review of it? So this person obviously, 347, doesn't keep track with our YouTube channel. Because if you did, you would know that I have seen NWA Power. We are not going to be doing of NWA Power a full-on review of that show like we do with Dynamite, like we do with NXT, Raw, and SmackDown, but we will be doing what we call the rundown. 3 to 5 minute match, letting you guys know everything that took place on the show, and then I'll give a little quick synopsis deal at the end of if I thought it was a good show, if I thought it was a bad show, if I thought it was one of the better shows, or if I thought there was a week that was better. So I'm not going to do like a full review like we do here, 20-minute review, 15-minute review, but we will be doing what we call the rundown. We'll actually be doing that for every show, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite. It will be up the next morning after the show does air, just in case, someone misses a show and they want a quick rundown of what happened. I'll also be doing it for Impact starting next week after they do their big debut on Access TV. And if these videos do well, we'll add more like MLW Fusion and whatnot. So give these rundown videos some love, guys. Go check them out. We got our NWA Power video rundown up today. We got our Monday Night Raw rundown up tomorrow. We will have the AEW rundown up in the morning. We will then have the NXT rundown up maybe Friday morning because I'm not doing the review. We're going to try something different. We're doing the NXT review tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific instead of in the morning because I did hear a lot of you say that it's hard for you to get in on the live chat in the morning. So we're going to bump that to tomorrow night. Again, the NXT review will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. So with that, I want to say thank you for joining me here live to talk about AEW Dynamite. Thank you to everybody who watched later right here on YouTube and listened on podcast services all around the world. Have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow as we talk NXT.